Thanks for joining me today. I'm so excited about these homemade marshmallows. They're super yummy. They just have that really homemade taste, kind of like when you're making ice cream and you make it at home. It's just better than what you buy at the store. So what I really found that I like to do with this, Valentine's Day is coming up, so I put a little hint of strawberry flavor in there and a little touch of pink coloring, and it just really takes them up another notch. We're actually using the powdered gelatin that we're offering at SweetWise now, and it comes in a really convenient size, and I use it so much in all of my pastries that it's really nice just to have that container instead of opening up those little packets. I found also that with little packets, just depending on what brand you're using, the amount that's in there can vary, and that's a little bit frustrating because sometimes your recipe turns out one way the first time and a different time the next time you do it, and that's just not really good to be able to count on. Okay, so I went ahead and got all of my prep ready. So the most important thing is to make sure that your vessel is ready to receive your marshmallows when they're done. So basically I just lined my pan, and you can do these an 8-inch pan, 9-inch pan, 10-inch pan. If you want to cut these actually with a cookie cutter, maybe a little heart shape, then I would probably do it in a larger pan so that the marshmallows are a little bit thinner. These I wanted kind of big and square and chunky, so I left them in an 8x8 pan, but you can put it in up to a 10x10 pan. And I just lined that with parchment paper and then sprinkled it pretty generously with powdered sugar. So my vessel's ready for when they're done, and then I went ahead and laid out all of my ingredients. Now the recipe's on the website. If you just go to sweetwise.com and look under recipes, you're going to find homemade marshmallows. And the vanilla marshmallow recipe is there. And I'm going to show you just a little bit of a tweak that I did to make them strawberry. Here I'm going to do a half recipe. The recipe makes a lot of marshmallows, so go ahead and do the whole thing if you want. Here I'm just going to do a half, and it works just as well. So I've got my 1 tablespoon of gelatin ready, and I'm going to go ahead so this can bloom and put this in a quarter cup of water. The whole recipe calls for a half a cup. And let that bloom. You can see it's already starting to dissolve, and those little granules go ahead and start to develop a little bit. That's called blooming. So I'm going to go ahead and get my fire going here, and I have a quarter cup of water in here, and then I'm going to add just a cup of granulated sugar to that. Now all I'm going to do is go ahead and get this stirred together, and I'm just going to put this on the fire long enough to let that sugar dissolve, and that's just going to take about a minute or two. Just make sure you're not burning it. Just going to take medium-high heat to let that dissolve. Okay, so this is getting nice and clear. Now that we're there, I'm going to go ahead and add my bloom gelatin just right into this mixture. If it happens that your gelatin had been sitting on your countertop for several minutes and it seems like it's too solid to pour in there, you can certainly just pop that in your microwave for about 10 seconds so it's a little bit more pourable. That's fine to do. So all you're going to do once that gelatin mixture is in there is just bring this up to a boil. You're not trying to get to a certain temperature like you're cooking sugar. It's just that you're going to bring it to a boil so that it's all combined and working. So we're going to stop right there and just go straight into our stand mixer. Now is the time that you're going to add your salt. So I've got, for my half recipe, I've got 1/8 teaspoon of salt. And this is my fun part. It calls for 1 teaspoon of vanilla for the half recipe, 2 teaspoons for the whole recipe. But my 1 teaspoon of vanilla, I split with 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla and 1/2 teaspoon of strawberry. So it has that nice strawberry flavor. And that's just going to go right in now also. So you can just go ahead and start this on low. Be really careful here. You don't want this to splash up on you. So just start it on low. And then once it starts to cool off a little bit, you can take it up to like a medium-high speed. And then just let it whip for about 10 minutes until it's nice and fluffy. Right before it's done, you're going to add just a drop of food coloring and get that nice pink hue. So we're going to get started and see this blow up. Okay, so it's starting to thicken up now. It's not all the way done, but I want to go ahead and add a drop of my color so that it incorporates really well instead of waiting until the end and then it's too thick to add. So we're just going to put a drop of red in there. Let's get a nice deep, deep pink color. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it back on and let it finish whipping. Okay, this is pretty much ready. It's doubled in volume, it's nice and thick. Now, I'm kind of one that likes to get every little bit out of here, but if you do this just with your dry hands, it's going to be a little bit sticky. So, of course, I wash my hands first, but then I'm going to dip them in a little bit of water just to be able to pull this off because I don't like to waste it. Don't knock yourself out trying to scrape everything perfectly clean. This can become a gooey mess really, really quickly and can be frustrating. So I'm just going to take a spoon or spatula and just scoop this right into my prepared vessel. Again, not trying to get every single drop in there that's going to be a complete mess, but just scraping as much as I can. And remember that I did a half batch here today. Your full batch is going to be nice and thick, but this one's going to be thin enough that I can use my cookie cutters and cut them into heart shapes later if I would like to. So you're just going to spread this out all the way to the corners, and then you're just going to let it rest for about 4 to 6 hours. And then it's going to be ready to cut. If it sticks to your knife at all, you can just use a little bit of powdered sugar on your knife. So these are the finished marshmallows. You can see how springy they are, just like the marshmallows that you would buy in the store, but double yummy because of that, have that great strawberry flavor in them. And just because they're homemade, they're so much more delicious. These would be even cuter with this nice chunky square. Let's say you put a little sucker stick in them, tie a pretty ribbon around it, and then dip just the end in chocolate with some sprinkles on there, and then you line them up on a plate and it's like a fine dessert. I actually saw some of these similar in a kind of high-end grocery store, and it was like one marshmallow, it was like $4.99 for a little cube, and I was frankly just appalled. These are so easy to make. Do them yourselves. You can do any flavor that you want to, any color that you want to, any shape that you want to, and it really is the hot treat right now. So I hope you'll give them a try. Go to the SweetWise website, look for the recipe, and have a lot of fun with it. These are really cute treats. Thanks for watching.